Welcome to the Undrafted Armchair Quarterbacks. We're Jim and Joe, lifelong friends, lifelong fans, bringing you fan-driven sports talk the way real fans do. No overpaid experts, no scripted analysis, just honest takes on the games, players, and the big stories shaping sports right now.
Drop your comments, questions, and takes. We'll read them all and bring them into future shows. It's important to us. So hit like, subscribe, and join the conversation every week, free on YouTube, pretty soon on Spotify, and wherever you listen. Join us.
Yeah, and that's the most important part. Otherwise, it's just you and I talking about sports, which we've been doing our whole lives.
From
You know,
the
it's
great city of Miami.
from the great city of Miami. Yeah, it's funny. You and I have been talking about this for quite a while. I mean, years to be honest. And I know, between our wives and friends, it's always been like, yeah, it was inevitable. Hey, why don't you just do something instead of sitting around wasting time talking about sports, which is never a waste of time. Why don't you do something with it? Make something of it. So here we are, the maiden voyage, the inaugural podcast of the Undrafted Armchair Quarterbacks. Can you believe it?
Here we are, live and in person.
Yes, well, not quite live, but soon to be live because we're not experts. If we were experts, we would know how to do that. And by the way, being the maiden voyage, kind of like a garage band, kind of like, well, you remember Steve Jobs, Apple, started in a garage, so it does take some kind of organic time to get going. And we are not experts, as any of our listeners will soon discover. But we are eager, we love sports, and so as we go, we will become better at doing this. And so hopefully what you see will improve and we'll start to look like a professional organization, but without experts or over bloated in analysis or stats. We were talking about this, Jim, before we came on. We love sports. A lot of people love sports, and we get this question we get it often. What is it about sports? What's driving you to, we talk about it all the time, but what's driving you to even, create a podcast and join and get a community to talk about sports with us? What is it about sports that you love?
It's dynamic. You make predictions, and you can be wrong 50% of the time or right 50% of the time. No one is an expert more than us. So, growing up in Miami together, we were in the shadows of the Miami Orange Bowl. That was the site that had so many famous games.
Epic
Obvious,
games.
Obviously, a lot of things that come to mind are the Miami Hurricanes, their dynasty years, the Miami Dolphins, 2 Super Bowls in a row under Don Shula, all in the shadows of an really aging, old, but beautiful stadium right above your head there. I absolutely love that picture on
Me
your
too.
wall.
Me too.
It actually, I almost get a little verklempt,
A little what? I,
and
I don't use words we have to Google, Jim. Thank you.
and people all have that feeling about their hometowns. That
Of course.
same feeling. There could be
Oh yeah.
someone right now that's going to be texting to us and going, "I grew up in Minnesota." Immediately, I'm going to go, "Oh, Metropolitan Stadium versus the Orange Bowl." Oh, too bad, man.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of, maybe live back in the day, but also some, grainy, VHS of Fran Tarkenton and Chuck Foreman and the Purple People Eater. So you're right, wherever you're from, you have memories of that time. Now, by the way, games last week are also being memorized and experienced by young kids today. So they'll have those, but for us, the Orange Bowl was a special place, no doubt about it.
Yeah. And Metropolitan Field was too. What did we do when we had 1 or 2 cold fronts a year in Miami and we could
Yeah.
actually see our breath?
Oh, yeah.
Our
Rare.
front yard or backyard football game that day was it was etched in stone. It was the Minnesota Vikings against the Green Bay Packers.
Hundred
You know,
percent. That's
so
right.
yeah, what a great time to be growing up, Miami in the '70s.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, sports has been a big part of our lives. You and I in the backyard, or just going to games. It's an amazing thing.
all the way through the years up until we did our comedy show on a Monday night in Tallahassee.
That's right.
And doing Howard Cosell because the NFL strike was on, and
The
they let
NFL
us go
strike.
on right at 9 p.m. when they made the announcement that there was going to be no Monday Night Football, and we blew that place up that night, and we won that show. So
Yep, that's
what?
true.
That's what we're
Yeah,
all about. That's what
case of
we're all about.
Budweiser. Case of Budweiser, if I remember.
I
Yeah.
think
Well,
it was
that's
Molson.
was
Wait.
it.
It was Molson Golden.
Oh, that's why we didn't do it again. No, I'm kidding. Love Molson. I love any beer. Any beer is good with me. I've never met a beer I didn't like.
Me
No, sports
either.
has been a big part of our life. And by the way, that's how we met. But and for those out there watching this first show, trust me, please believe me, you'll never have to live through this. 10 minutes again. We just want to set the stage a little bit. Get to know us, but obviously, as importantly, why sports is important. Why we're doing this. We both love music. We love other things. Maybe not art as much as anything else, but sports is the center. If I could throw some things out there about sports to me, growing up with 5 kids, we're all about 2 years apart. No dad around. Sports was literally a lifesaver, and I don't say that lightly. Without Sunnyland Park and baseball, football, softball, little soccer going on back then, my mom would drop us off there every Saturday for the day with 25 cents in our pocket, which got us 5 snow cones if you were thrifty. The sports back then saved us because with the coaches and the involvement and being around kids, some in your circumstance, some not, it gave us a sense of not only community, but those coaches were. I still remember a lot of my coaches from Little League, 8, 9, 10 years old, and their influence. Not to replace a dad or anything like that, but their influence on our lives and teaching you right and wrong, and teaching you how to lose, teaching you how to win, and those kind of character building traits were critical. And you and I met, third, fourth year of Little League baseball. But I'll
Yeah.
tell you, moving on from there, as I got older, by the way, I joined the Marine Corps to see the world. I saw North Carolina, which was good, but also, ironically, I ended up on the All-Marine softball team. So here we go with sports again. All throughout high school, played tennis, played baseball, played sports in high school. My kids who are in college now have been pushed to play high school sports. My son was a great basketball player and golfer. My daughter's a tennis player. Golf and tennis, lifelong sports, nothing wrong with that. But for the same reasons. You need to do something more than just, and going to school is great. And if you don't play sports, that's fine. But I think adding sports to that life or high school life is really important. And then finally, as I got even older and started looking around, I realized something about sports that never really hit me in my younger years, and that is, even with my dad and I, we had a rough start for a long time, but as we kind of reconciled and agreed to, let's kind of start over, even during those awkward moments, long car rides or something where you didn't have a lot to say, there was always the Cardinals. There was always sports. My dad was a big Cardinals fan, so if there was, just silence for, 12 miles, I bring up something about baseball or something, and we could always talk about that. And I bet you there's people out there that have a very similar kind of thing. I remember my brother and I just getting in the, fist fights in the front yard when we were like 12 and 13 and 10 and 12 and all that. And it was kind of funny, after we dusted off the dust and wiped a little blood off our mouth, we'd have like a football game, and we'd pick teams in the neighborhood, and I'd pick my brother first to be on my team. Sports does bring people together. It always has. Even after 9/11, the Yankees were very eager to have a game as soon as possible. After major events, the earthquake game in Oakland, I was there in San Francisco, Oakland, San Francisco, World Series. They thought about canceling it, and it was overwhelming that people said, no, we need to keep the game, and we need to have it. So 10 days later, they continued that World Series. Unfortunately, it was against Oakland, so it was a sweep for Oakland. But, you look at Philadelphia, I look at games on TV, and I'll close with this. With everything going on right now, people want to escape, right? From politics and from all these things. Regardless of what you feel about all that, when I look at a game like, and I'm just using Philadelphia because I happen to be looking at that, think of all the people in that stadium. Think of their economic differences. Think of their religious differences. Think of their cultural differences. Think of all the differences of those 70, 80,000 people. And for that 3 hours, there aren't. They're all literally united, and not in a fake way, not in a pretend way. They are all united over one thing, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles in that case. So why sports? The answer for me is pretty easy. It's an integral part of many people's lives. And as far as being Americans go, we are so lucky because think about it. Soccer and some of the great sports in the world, most countries, they have, one or two big sports they follow. Look at all the sports we have. Hockey, baseball, football, college. Every Friday night, high schools all over the country playing football. Tennis, golf. Ryder Cup starts tomorrow. We are so fortunate that we have all this sports to just not only entertain us, but keep us going, get us excited. A lot of times you wake up in the morning, it's game day. So talk sports. I'm happy to do it. I love it. We love it. And sorry for going on too long. That's 10 minutes of everyone's life you won't get back. But that's why we're doing this podcast, because we love talking about it. But as importantly, we want to hear other people's stories as well.
Absolutely. Boy, I'd run through a wall for you right now, Coach Joe.
Hey,
so inspiring.
that's what I'm saying. That's probably from my 6-year-old peewee coach, for all I know. I probably my arm's damaged for life, probably because some coach back before don't throw the curveball before you're 13 years old. They didn't care. But I had some good coaches in my life, some really good coaches, and they literally had a lot of influence, not just on how to throw a curveball or how to tackle properly, but way more than that. So,
yeah, and my story is the same. Hopefully, I can fill the expectations here just as well as you just did. Growing up in Miami, right back to there, meeting you in Little League Baseball. Boy, how fortunate was I, because you're one of the funniest people I've ever met, and don't you ever stop being funny, Mr. Joe.
Well, looks aren't everything.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Born and raised in Miami, I chose not to hitchhike across the USA.
Why?
But my love for sports and music started early because of my parents, their influence. My dad was also a diehard St. Louis Cardinals baseball fan. He loved his hometown. Both my parents grew up in Miami, loved his hometown, Miami Hurricanes, and of course, the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, yeah.
And Mom was a music lover, and she got my first little acoustic guitar and helped me with lessons. And after the lessons, luckily, she kept steering me to listening to music with her. She always had music on wherever we were going, in the car or in the house. She always had records playing, music on. And so being exposed to the sports, the music, I couldn't have been any luckier. And boom, in the city of Miami, which was really, the Orange Bowl was home to every year, the Miami Orange Bowl on New Year's night.
Yep.
And there were national championship games, and we'll talk about that in future shows.
And there still are. I mean, the Orange Bowl, the Orange Bowl is still, it's at Hard Rock now, but yeah, the Orange Bowl's been a big part of Miami sports scene.
Yeah, and I loved growing up with you, man. I'll never forget the
Me
days
too.
throwing the Frisbee all day long on Key Biscayne.
That's a sport, by the way. But we're gonna have the opportunity to talk a lot about, we're gonna, our growing up in Miami is going to be intertwined with sports, forever. And I'm very fortunate that we got to meet. We've been lifelong friends. That's part of the intro, part of the show description, because we are. Since whatever it was, 4th, 5th grade. And we've never, I've never, taken that for granted. This podcast, we've talked about for quite a while. For those out there, thank you. This is the first one, so little history and a little bit about us. We're going to skip that in the future. We'll throw in a little tidbit. We can't help it. But what we want to do is, obviously there are different seasons and stuff. We're going to talk about the things going on right now. It's football, obviously, but there's also baseball's really coming down the stretch. It's crazy right now. We got the Ryder Cup starting. So what we want to do is bring you our thoughts, maybe from a different angle, because we're not experts on both the what's happening, the football and this, but also maybe some news or maybe things that you just don't really think about. For example, when I brought up other sports in the world, did you know that in Afghanistan, soccer is huge, but did you know they're not allowed to keep score? And I didn't know this. They can play, but they can't keep score, and that's because of the Taliban. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't realize. So so we're that's why we're so lucky. So you ready to get into it?
Yeah, man.
I'm ready to get into it. Let's talk about the NFL. We got what day is today? Thursday. I know we got other things going on. One more thing, by the way. We are going to do a couple shows a week. But sometimes we'll have to have like an emergency episode. And I think tomorrow's that day because we have baseball wild card. I mean, coming down the stretch to the wire for some teams. And then we also have the Ryder Cup literally started today with opening ceremonies, practice rounds. But tomorrow, it's on. And I don't want to steal any thunder for tomorrow, but we have to have an emergency episode tomorrow for those two things. Right?
Excellent. Good.
Agreed.
Please join us, and can't wait
Yeah.
to see what your comments are and stories are, because that's how we get to know you, where you're from. Leave a little quote. We'll read the texts. Cannot wait. Cannot wait.
Cannot wait. And for those out there, listen, you like and subscribe, that helps us. But for right now, we're not doing live shows for a couple of reasons. We're not experts. We're going to, make sure we have everything running properly so that when we do go live, it's an enjoyable experience for those watching and listening. But we will fully intend to have live shows. And, of course, your comments can be read live and they can influence the actual show at that time. But for now, your comments are still important. I give you our words that we will look at your comments, read your comments, and they can shape future shows, and we'll even be happy to get back to you. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
That's going to be the best part.
100%. I agree.
That's going to bring up the fun and the perspective, and sometimes a little disagreement to agree or agree to disagree. That's what it's all about. Just like we're sitting in our armchair in your house.
That's right.
Or sitting next to you up on a bar stool in your town.
Love
That's
it.
what it's all about.
Or arms or bar stools with arms. That would be kind of like the best thing right there. Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beautiful.
But it just doesn't sound right when you say the undrafted arm stool quarterbacks. It doesn't have the same ring. So
Or
Let's-
string.
yes, let's get into the NFL. We could talk about every game or not because of time constraints. Also because, let's face it, some games just aren't as attractive to others. We always have an asterisk. If we don't talk about your team or your game, it's not because we don't love the Panthers this week. It's just because we have, we got to focus on a few games only, and we will cover every team, I'm sure, as the season goes on. But for right now, it's nothing personal. We're just trying to pick the games that the, average football fan would be interested in seeing, like us.
I agree. All the games are important.
They are.
All the games are.
They are.
But we're going to talk about just a couple, and I guess we can start off with tonight's game, NFL Thursday night package. We've got both teams that are 2-1. The Seattle Seahawks go to Arizona to State Farm Stadium to take on the Cardinals. And Seattle found a couple of things. It's like, wow, it's been that long since the Cardinals beat the Seahawks? 8 years. Or I'm sorry, 8 straight games. So that's 4 years since the Cardinals have toppled the Seahawks. And I was
Wow.
like, wow. And when you know it, Seattle's favored again tonight by 1.5.
Yeah.
What do you think, man? What?
You know, they seem evenly matched to me. I think Seattle. I think personally, Seattle's been playing, better, for lack of a better term, than a lot of teams. I think they just look like they have their offense and defense kind of in a good place.
Yeah,
Arizona seems, I don't want to say, Captain Obvious, but as
yeah,
Murray goes, the Cardinals kind of go, and I think it's kind of nice not to just rely on, that only. To me,
right. So we're gonna do. We're gonna skip that one as far as making a pick because there are several games here that are really big this weekend. Sunday morning, uh, live from Dublin. That's at 9:30 Eastern and 6:30
whoa,
a.m.
wow,
Pacific time.
that's
Yep,
that's that's crazy. Nine
and
thirty.
it's the Minnesota Vikings
Mm-hmm.
against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes,
Well, that one, the Vikings are favored by 2.5. So we can choose that one to make our picks, or we've got choices. We have choices.
we do have
Uh,
choices.
and I think a game that just about everybody in the country is going to be tuning into at one time or another.
Well, it's the only game on,
Philadelphia,
right?
Philadelphia Eagles
Oh,
at
yeah, that
Tampa
game.
Bay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm talking about for our picks. Which
for our
ones are you
picks.
going to
Yeah,
predict? Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
So
back to the
definitely.
Vikings Steelers. That's the only game on at 9:30. So,
Yeah.
you know, they'll get a lot of viewership on that game. As far as that game itself goes, it's a good matchup. A lot of times those games overseas. I'm not picking on any team. I'm just thinking, and I'm making this up probably, but it's like the 0-4 Jaguars against the 4-0 Eagles or something, and they're not always. It almost seems like it's a token game to just have it over there, but this is actually a good game.
Yeah. Yeah.
2-1 teams.
Yeah. And then we got the Eagles Bucks, and then Sunday at 4 o'clock, I noticed another one that caught. That's going to catch a lot of eyeballs on TV. The Indianapolis Colts, undefeated, 3-0, against the LA Rams, who are 2-1. And on that game, I guess because it's at SoFi, the Rams are favored by 3.5.
Cool.
And last,
Do you want to
and
talk
last,
about each one of these games as we go, or do you want to?
yeah, sure.
All
What
right.
do you think about the? We'll go back to the Eagles and the Bucks.
Okay. Eagles and Bucks. Love it. Great matchup. I until the Eagles lose, they're at home. What can you say? It's a complete team. They're seasoned. They know how to win. The Bucks are going to be without Evans, possibly. I think, which he actually Evans hasn't had the kind of production first three games. I understand, but so ironically, I'm not sure how much they're going to miss him. He is obviously receiver one or two on that team, so given every given week, which doesn't help the Bucks. Mayfield's playing well. I just don't see how are you going to beat the Eagles.
Right. I've got a little fun fact for you. I saw.
Yeah.
This is the seventh straight game when the Eagles have played the Bucks that the NFL scheduled the game in Tampa.
Hmm.
Think about that.
Hmm.
That's crazy.
Well,
Just to,
in
go ahead.
this game's at Philadelphia,
No,
so
it's in Tampa.
no kidding.
Yeah,
Okay.
7 in a row.
Hmm. That
Yeah.
sounds unbelievable. How are they allowed to do that?
I don't know. Maybe they just flip coins like we do when we make our picks sometimes.
Well, you see,
I
that's
have
why
no
that's
idea.
why I'm just trying to show everyone. I knew it was in Tampa. I'm just trying to show everyone we're not experts. So that way, if you happen to comment, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I think that explains why the Eagles are still favored. It doesn't matter, but I don't know. Hurts is playing great. I mean, the only question mark on the Eagles I have is where's Brown? He hasn't been really involved too much lately, but he's capable. So I would take the Eagles. No matter where they could be playing, in my backyard out here, and it wouldn't matter to me until, like I said, until somebody really demonstrates how to beat them. They're tough, man. They got ball control if they want it. They can hurt you quick if they need to. Their special teams are good. Their defense is good. So it's tough. It's a tough one.
Taking the Eagles.
Yes.
I'm going to take the Eagles too, because the main reason why is because it came down to the wire last week for the Bucks to topple the New York Jets.
True.
And just think, I don't know, Philadelphia, like you said, they're the Super Bowl champs. So I'm taking the Eagles also.
Me too. I don't want to say it's an easy one because the Buccaneers are 3-0. They are playing good. They have a good running game. I like their offense, and their defense is always strong. So we'll see. I hope it's a good game. It should be.
Oh yeah, definitely be watching that one.
Yep.
1 o'clock in the heat and at Ray J Stadium. Yep.
Love it.
And then the Colts, undefeated Colts, Daniel Jones at the LA Rams and Matthew Stafford and company. What do you think about that game, Joe?
Well, the surprising Colts. Boy, Joe, you really went on a limb on that one. The Colts are surprising. They have been surprising, everyone really at this point. And there's, the Rams are 2-1, obviously, but they look good too. I mean, Stafford looks like he's kind of re-energized. I don't know if it was, the loss or what that really got him going, but Williams is running well. Their defense, that's the only problem with the Rams I see is they don't look like they can shut people down if they have to. Case in point, last week, it's I think the Colts are for real. I don't think it's a mirage. I don't think it's they got lucky with their first 3 matchups or anything like that. I think they're for real.
Yeah, I think I know why Daniel Jones has been so good for Indianapolis this year. I think I know exactly why.
What's your theory?
He's wearing the same uniform style with the blue and the 2 stripes that he wore when he was the quarterback, and he was an awesome quarterback at Duke. That's why. That's why. Look at the pictures. Look him up at Duke and look him up right now with the Indianapolis Colts. He doesn't have to worry about how he looks. He's used to it.
That's a great theory. Yes.
He can focus on his job.
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Let me fix my collar.
Very nice. And by the way, the Rams, I talk about being energized by the loss, being 2-0 and then getting beat by the Eagles in a close game. They did play the Eagles well. But before that, you're playing the Texans and the Titans. Again, 3 games, not a good sample size. So we're not really sure about the Rams yet. But the Colts, I mean, they look legitimate. I mean, they really do. They got a really good running game. They annihilated the Dolphins, which at this point doesn't say too much. But that Broncos win was pretty impressive, really. And then, of course, beating the Titans right now isn't that big of a task while Cam Ward gets his feet wet and everything. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to that game as well. It's a good game to keep. Who you got in that game?
Rams.
Ooh, taking the Rams. Okay.
At home.
Yep. Well, that's a home field advantage usually. So I'm going to take the Colts.
Okay.
I think the team that's playing well and rolling, we'll see. We'll see how they handle, being on the road and playing against what should be a good offense. Because I'm not sold on the Colts' defense yet. I think what's shocking everyone about the Colts is not that they're 3-0, but that the offense and how the offense is putting up, in the NFL, putting up 30 and 40 points is not, not automatic. So it's we'll see what they can do against the Rams.
They're not Sunday at 4:25, same time slot, 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon. After, during the Colts Rams game, the 1-2 battle for two teams that it just shocks me saying this right now. The 1-2 Baltimore Ravens at the 1-2 Kansas City Chiefs.
Huge game, huge game. We've talked about this, going 0-3, going 1-4, going 1-3. That's a huge difference in being 1-2 or 0-2. The loser of this game has a lot of work to do aside from just morale, but numbers in your division. That should be. If there could be a playoff type intensity game this early in the season, this would be that game. Both coaches, both teams understand that this is a massive game because 2-2 is okay. I'm 2-2. 1-3 is that's a catch your attention, circle the wagons. We got kind of thing. So I'm looking at this game to be an incredible game to watch.
That's a great point. Okay, then tell me, who do you think is going to win that football game?
Baltimore, they before last weekend, I would have said, Baltimore, listen, that was a great game that they played and lost to Buffalo, and Buffalo might be the best team in the NFL right now, arguably.
Right.
But after watching the Ravens is that the Baltimore Ravens, or was that, the two previous games? Because I'm just saying, watching that game against the Lions, and the Lions, we can talk about them as far as are they back? Was that a one game hiccup for them? But the Ravens still put up 30, didn't play that well. The Lions controlled a lot of the clock. If you saw that game, if I'm not mistaken, the Lions dominated time of possession. So I think the Chiefs are on the slide. I think the Ravens are still on the upswing. They've just gotten off to some little bad luck start. And I think the Ravens win this game. I'm going to say by 6.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I agree. Because
Okay.
I just the biggest factor for me is that Ravens team is probably looking at and studying the Chiefs, and they have not played well on defense. And John Harbaugh has probably been all over him in practice this week.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that they want revenge, their playoff history against the Chiefs, etc., they can go into their house and bring themselves great joy by silencing the Arrowhead crowd, where they always talk about, look at the decibels, look at this. Their goal is to go in there and shut Kansas City down.
100%.
I think they're going to do it, because then they will be 2-2, and then let the Chiefs have the 1-3 Blues.
Okay.
That's what I think. So we're going to agree on that ball game.
For any Chiefs fans out there, I'm a known. I grew up in Miami. We love the Dolphins. I'm a huge Raiders fan. I'm not even sure how that actually happened. It's probably a great story in there somewhere. But I can't reach my tissues right now. They're way across the table for the Kansas City Chiefs if they go 1-3. But you know what? Listen, you've had a great run out there, you Kansas City fans. You know it. We know it. Like the New England Patriots are realizing it can't last forever. But that's okay. Honorable mention game, going back to the 9:30 game, the Vikings-Steelers in Dublin, which is great. I'll be watching that game because, it's a good matchup, and on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 6 or so. Good game to watch. I'm glad it's a good game that's on at 9:30 while we drink our Bloody Marys or whatever we're having. I will say this, I'm glad they're having this game now in Ireland, because people may not realize, but the population in Ireland is exploding to the point where this game might be much more difficult in the future. The population's growing so quickly that I heard the population in the capital is doubling. So it's yeah, it's good to have it now. So to make sure that there's still room to have it. All right, we have about 5 minutes left. What do you think? We got time for some college football? Maybe point out a couple games coming up.
Just before we rush to college football, yes, I do.
Okay.
We got to mention the Sunday night game, the Packers and the Cowboys.
Okay.
Packers take the Cheeseheads go into Dallas with Micah Parsons on their sideline. Not that that's
Which he says there's no extra motivation.
sure.
Mhm.
I believe him.
Is that a classic
Of course
case of
there's
saying
extra
saying the
motivation.
right thing? If you Google that, that's what you'll see.
Yeah, that's too funny. I think that's worthy of just doing a quick pick, and then we can talk about a couple of the really big college games, which we might just touch on again on our next show.
Okay.
Packers, Cowboys. Can I go first on this one?
Please.
Packers. They're
Mm.
favored by 6.5, 7 point. Yeah, I'm going to take Green Bay in that one on the road in
Wow.
Dallas.
Um,
So brave.
well, that is brave because, to be honest with you, watching the Packers last game, um, you know, to me, it's not as cut and dry as that anymore.
Keep me in suspense. Who you
Well,
got?
so I would normally have taken the Packers, but losing to the Browns, and I realize the Browns are, they're an NFL team. Anybody's capable of being anybody. But you lost to the Browns 10-13. I understand Cleveland's defense is really good. They really are. If Cleveland's defense could play on the same team with an offense that's even pretty good, the Browns could be undefeated. Their defense is that good.
Yeah.
However, the Packers offense scares me to death at this point. They just don't. I mean, they did put up 27 on Washington. They did put up 27 on Detroit. That's what makes this a little tough. I'm going to go with Dallas, and I can't. It doesn't roll out of. It's hard to say because my brother's a Dallas fan, so of course I have to not like Dallas. No offense to the Cowboys fans out there, but I'm going to go with Dallas just because I think they will rise to the occasion. I think it's an even game.
I hope your brother responds and texts something and starts throwing some smackdown at you on that one.
Yeah, should. By the way, when Jim and I pick, we have our pick with our brain, which is challenging. We also have our pick with our wallet.
Yeah.
So most of these picks you'll hear are with our wallet. As I just demonstrated, I would never pick the Cowboys any other time. But if I had to put money on these games, we don't gamble, do we? But that's our wallet pick. All right, with the few minutes we have, what's that?
Why we were undrafted, though, please, the little reminder there.
Yes,
We're
true.
not experts.
No, and yeah, please don't use our picks as any kind of a guidance or recommendation if you are out there on DraftKings or any of the MGM sites or anything like that. Please, and don't blame us. That's for sure.
But if we are having a good year and we are looking like we should have been drafted and we are experts, then they can use our picks.
Well, that, and we will take full credit for being experts, that week. But yeah, of course. Some college games. Let's just do some. We're running out of time here. We got about 2 minutes, so we can definitely talk about these maybe a little bit tomorrow on our special episode of baseball and golf.
Yes.
Maybe let's do that. Let's just talk about the few games we're going to keep an eye on, and then tomorrow we can have our picks right up front before we move on. What you got?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of eyes are going to be watching, most definitely, Alabama at Georgia between the
Yep.
hedges.
Yep.
That's going to be a good one. That's must-see TV right there.
I think so. Is Alabama recovered from their opening week smackdown by your beloved Florida State Seminoles? We'll find out. By the way, one thing about that Florida State game that I'm sure most people know, I didn't really hear it the first time, but what were the rushing yards that Alabama gave up in that game? It wasn't it like 230 or 50 plus?
Yeah,
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 it was. It wasn't just, hey, we beat them with trick plays and reverses, which Gus Malzahn is known to do anyways, with, not trick plays all the time, but he does some very misdirectional type offensive plays. That's going to be tough to play Florida State for part of that reason when you got speed and all that stuff going on. But they ran up the middle. They have that, what's that running play they have up the middle? It's called like a slant gap or something like that, where they just go
trap,
right off guard,
trap,
right. Yeah, and they
trap.
the trap runs they abused Alabama. So, anyways, we'll see if Alabama's for real or not because Georgia is, even though they've had some close games like at Tennessee. But hey, they look
Yeah,
great.
and then Oregon, Penn State.
Oregon, Penn State. I see Oregon's underdogs. Maybe they should be on the road. Oregon. We'll see. We'll see what they're made of. Oregon has had literally a junior college schedule up to this point. So, and Penn State has too. They haven't played anyone yet. So let's see what happens.
Yeah,
It's going to
sounds
be
good.
that's going to be the game everyone is going to look at. But when you have Oregon's schedule of Montana State, Oklahoma State, 69-3, probably helped get Gundy fired. You got Northwestern, Oregon State. I mean, come on, they haven't played anybody, so that's a tough one.
Yeah, and
Who are they? How good are they? Who knows?
yeah. Well, that was fun, Joe. Our first inaugural show, and don't forget, Knowles fans. Florida State plays tomorrow night, Friday night,
Friday night
in
game
Charlottesville
at
against
Virginia.
Virginia.
Yep,
At
and
Virginia.
Virginia was horrible last year. Their new quarterback, he's a
He's
graduate
good.
transfer. He's good.
He's
I don't think he's good enough personally. Well, I don't think Virginia's defense is good enough. Who was that? Chip Kelly once said. Brian Kelly once said, you coach up or scheme offense, but you recruit defense. And I don't think Virginia's defense has the horses or the dogs to stop Florida State. I think they hang close for a while, but I think Florida State comes out on top. That is tomorrow night. That'll be nice. And then
Mhm.
we are going to have our special episode tomorrow, so please look for that. A little bit of our college football picks real quick, and then we'll get right into baseball, and we'll get right into the Ryder Cup, which starts tomorrow. So that's it for this episode of the Undrafted Armchair Quarterbacks with Jim and Joe. Thanks for checking us out and hanging with us for some real fan-driven sports talk.
And please don't forget, you are a big part of this show. Drop your takes, your comments below. We'll read them, and make sure to bring some smack, have some fun with us. That's what's going to make our show better together. And we'll feature them in future episodes. Be sure to like, subscribe, and catch us every week for free on YouTube. Pretty soon Spotify,
Yep,
and wherever you listen. We want you to join us.
that's 100% correct. Good seeing you, Jim. I will see you tomorrow. Take care, buddy.
Take care, Joe.
See you, man.
Thank you.